Hello and welcome to North Country Matters. My name is Donna Seymour. I'm a member of the St. Lawrence County branch of the American Association of University Women, one of the civic partners for this show. Today we have two guests in the studio, Nicki Hamilton-Honey and Casey Caswell. They are both with Cooperative Extension and they are part of the 4-H program, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. So first of all, Casey and Nicki, give us a little bit of background about how each of you got into doing 4-H work to begin with. Were you 4-H club members as kids?
I was. So I grew up in St. Lawrence County going with the 4-H program. I started when I was in 4th grade and right up until I graduated high school, and actually did a couple of, you can be in 4-H until you're 19, so I was in my first year of college. So 4-H made a huge difference in my life when I was younger. I was good at school, but there's just something about that outside of school activities that 4-H was able to offer to me that I really felt like I thrived. And I knew I wanted to give back. So that's when I went through college and came back to the North Country, I knew I wanted to be a part of the 4-H team. So. And
that's actually interesting that you say that, because so many times what happens is local kids go to college and then they leave the North Country, but you went to college and came back. So that's a great reverse role model for young people. Nicki, how about you? You didn't grow up in 4-H, but you got interested how?
Well, I actually grew up in Pennsylvania, and I went to Penn State University for my undergrad and earned a degree from the College of Agriculture. So I knew about extension, and Pennsylvania has a very big extension 4-H system. And so when I moved up to St. Lawrence County, I literally went to the extension office, signed up to be a 4-H volunteer, and just worked my way up through the ranks until now I'm a full-time educator.
And that's actually another great role model, that a lot of people do start out as volunteers in organizations, and eventually it does become a career and a paid position. So both of you have, your lives are a good example of a couple of different things that people can learn from. So, Casey, let's go a little bit into the background of Cornell Cooperative Extension, what it does and how it functions.
Okay. So Cornell Cooperative Extension really has an extensive history when you think about it. It goes back to 1862, and this was the Morrill Act, which established a land grant, it established land grant universities. The states were provided this land grant, or this money to purchase land for financing or beginning a university. And the idea was to provide research, or to create research in the agricultural concepts, and be able to give that education out to the rural population. And what they found was there was these one colleges, and these states were just so vast, so the population to get that information out to. So in 1914, the Federal Smith-Lever Act established the Cooperative Extension System, which means we were set up, or the extensions were set up in each county of the state, and Cornell, being our land grant university, would put out the research, and we would literally extend that information into our local communities, kind of help out the college in a sense. And the program areas that Cooperative Extension really focuses on is education, but it's in the field of agriculture and food systems, community and economic vitality, environment and natural resources, sustainable energy and climate change, nutrition, food safety, security, and obesity prevention, and 4-H youth development in children, youth, and families.
What's interesting about that, of course, is that in the 1800s, most of the population was rural, and most of it was involved in food production, either locally for themselves or as part of the larger farming communities for the country. So this was really, this created the opportunity to have learning-based opportunities right in the home community, didn't it? It was the sort of thing where the colleges and the land grants could actually get cutting-edge information out to farmers.
Exactly.
So that's actually a very important model for any kind of learning, is that you take where people are and you give them the tools they need to be more successful.
Yep.
And clearly when we go through the laundry list of the activities that Cornell Cooperative Extension is now, you've changed with the times because you have been able to keep your program alive by meeting the current needs as well as the original grant needs of the program, haven't you?
Yes.
So today we're going to focus on the youth programming that 4-H offers. I think when a lot of us think about Cooperative Extension and 4-H, we think about farm kids who are raising animals to take to the county fair. If they win there, they can go on to the state fair. But it's so much more than that, isn't it now?
Oh, yes.
So tell us a little bit, Casey, to begin with, about the 4-H clubs, a little about their history and how they've changed through time to meet the needs of young people.
Okay. So the 4-H clubs were established, the first ones were established right around 1902. There's a whole bunch of different ones coming up around that time, so we kind of estimate it there. And it really was groups of kids forming outside of the school setting. One of the leaders that started a club in New York State was a school teacher, but just realized that some of the curriculums that they were teaching in school was just not really getting at the home base of what they were needed for being at home, whether that was agriculture or working in the kitchen, doing the sewing and stuff like that. So it was really to get at the topics that were relevant to their daily lives. And the advances that were happening in agriculture, I think we noticed this today too, whenever you have something change or an advance, sometimes it's the younger population that catches on to it a lot quicker. So these
or is less resistant to change.
Yeah, they're more, yes, exactly. More interested in what that change has to offer, and they actually are the ones that are taking some of this information and then working with the adults in their close community and learning that skill hands-on. So, 4-H, it has been multiple years of being in existence, and it's through the entire world. It's not just a United States thing. There's a Cooperative Extension, there's 4-H groups in every state in the United States as well as across the world. So it's a vast
In fact, I think, if I remember reading correctly, it's the largest youth development program in the world, isn't it?
Yes.
So that's a pretty remarkable feat for something that's been around for about 120 years now, isn't it?
Yes.
So, remind folks what the 4-H's of 4-H stand for, Casey.
Okay, so the 4-H's stand for Head, Heart, Hands, and Health. And that goes along with their pledge. And what these really represent is, in a nutshell, the mission of what 4-H stands for. So, the pledge is the head for clear thinking, your heart for greater loyalty, your hands for larger service, and your health for better living. And then applying these to the positive youth development aspects to promote mastery, belonging, independence, and generosity through hands-on activities. And this creates that mentality 4-H, which is learning by doing. And youth really work closely with the project that they're working on, not just from listening from somebody talk about it or reading about it in a book, but really being engaged and experience it through those hands-on activities. And then applying that to what they've learned to other aspects in their life, and or to extend it into a larger purpose outside of themselves. And this is what 4-H kind of describes as our experiential learning approach when it comes to working with 4-H and helping them foster their skills that they're going to develop for their life.
What's interesting about that experiential learning, which you are teaching in 4-H and have right from the beginning, that's something a lot of colleges are now moving back to. Instead of they're taking their students out of the classroom and they're giving them volunteer and real-world experiences outside of the classroom to enhance the learning. So apparently the rest of the world is starting to catch up to what you guys have known all along. So one of the things, Casey, that the original 4-H clubs, there was a lot of raising animals because that's what the kids were doing at home. But you've expanded well beyond that now, haven't you? I mean, there's still probably some of that in your 4-H programs. But kind of describe what some of the other sorts of activities and topics 4-H clubs might be taking up.
Yeah, so definitely. As you said, the education was for the rural, raising the animals, doing the sewing and whatnot. But what we've really gone into is our 3 mission mandates, which is healthy living, STEM, and citizenship and leadership. And that is, our mission mandates is kind of what we drive our programming towards, that they're topics that are within there. So this program really includes a lot of projects from citizenship and leadership, doing community service projects, working within their community and giving back, as well as public speaking. We do public presentations, which is practicing of working, speaking up, and advocating for themselves or a topic that they're interested in. We also have a shooting sports program, which is, Nicki, you might be able to speak a little bit more of that one, but using, practicing with firearms and safety and all that kind of goes along with that. Cooking competitions, I mean, it goes on. We do the animal competitions as well, but woodworking, all of that.
So it's really an opportunity to develop skills that you might be interested in that also are going to have tremendous application in your own life as you grow up, particularly the leadership side of things, which I know one of the real deficits of schools is that there's just not a whole lot of leadership opportunity. I mean, it just doesn't exist outside of a few clubs and a few sporting activities. So the fact that this is a big focus of 4-H is a wonderful opportunity to students who get involved in 4-H, because leadership is something they're going to need every day of their life moving forward.
Yeah, and beyond that, 4-H has really taken a look at what are the kids interested in today, and what can we, and how can we find a niche for that? So we did a couple robotics programs a couple years ago, and we talked about, is there something we can do with anime? Like trying to see what the kids are interested in and seeing where they fit in with our mission mandates. And like you said, as far as talking about taking 4-H programs into the changes of the time, there's been this really big, huge push for a variety of STEM activities. And yes, that goes back to agriculture and animal science, but it also rocketry, like I said, rocketry, robotics, environmental
coding.
protection.
I know coding is something that some 4-H's have been involved in.
Yep,
sure,
exactly. And even renewable and sustainable energy, energy sources moving forward into the future. And this is really to kind of improve our ability to raise these kids that are thinking, in the field of STEM, to be able to compete in the key scientific fields that are taking on the leading challenges of the 21st century.
Right, and one of the things that we know about the STEM field is that that's where not only the jobs of the future are, but the high-paying jobs of the future are, and that if you're going to do well in those, you need to be exposed early, and you need to, like everything else, practice those skills. So Casey, tell us a little bit about who can join 4-H, what the requirements are, and what it is that the community needs to provide in order for a 4-H club to actually do well.
Okay, so 4-H clubs are very nice and unique for the family because it is boys and girls included. You have a family, you have 2 boys and a girl, they can all join the same club together. And it really is a family community setting. And all you really need to get a club started is having at least 2 families and at least 5 kids. And kind of the one stapler is having 6 business meetings that you have throughout the year. And all the business meetings are is it's really helping the kids learn throughout their life the citizenship, the leadership. They hold offices as president, secretary, treasurer. But the kids are running the show in a sense. They're saying, what are the projects that you want to do? And what do we need to raise money to do it? Do we need to go talk to people? What are the project materials that we need? And we're really going to make this happen, and the kids figure out, with help from the adults. That's a big part of it.
So the adults are there to facilitate what the kids
exactly.
want to do and help with resources and that sort of thing.
Yep. So
Sure.
it's really nice when a family or a group of friends can start a club together, because they're already a close knit group of people that they can, okay, well, do you want to make snack for this month, or do you want to do the project for this month? And they can really tailor it to what their family wants. There is quite a few clubs that are already established in St. Lawrence County. There's about 20. And every given year we have between 200 and 300 kids that are enrolled in 4-H. But it's really easy to join a club. They can just give me a call at the office, or I'd be the person they talk to help them get started.
Okay.
And I would go to your first couple meetings, helping you get those business meetings started, helping you show what those meetings might look like. And we also have a couple volunteers in our program who would be mentors, who have also said, hey, if you want to come survey or watch our business meetings and participate in a couple of them, just to kind of get your feet wet and to see what it's all about.
So you don't leave anybody out on their own. You're there with all kinds of support, suggestions, and ideas, and other clubs are great role models.
Yes.
That's great. And so you said there's about 20 clubs right now around the county, and it's easy to start, so people who are interested from a community or even a neighborhood could give you a call, couldn't they? That's okay. All right, Nicki, let's bring you into the conversation and talk a little bit about the educational aspect of 4-H programming. So tell us a little bit about some of the various interest programs. I know you've got short-term programs, long-term programs, all kinds of things. So give us some sense of what each one of those is like.
Right, so 4-H is not just clubs. It's our short-term special interest programs. We have an extended day program. We have Northwind after school, and then we have summer camps. So some of our short-term special interest programs are either can be single classes or meetings, or could be long-term 6 to 10 week programs that are offered at different times of the day and throughout the year. So some of the single meeting, the classes include, and are concluding right now, of our Maple tours, and moving into our Ag tours, which are done at the Extension Learning Farm in Canton. Some of these classes can include outdoor survival, map and compass. We have sewing projects. We have cooking and nutrition, and we have lots of other classes and offerings that are these single class one-time meeting.
Now, do all of these events take place at the Learning Farm? Or can they move
not
around?
necessarily,
Okay.
not necessarily. So kind of our Learning Farm is our base of operations, but it certainly isn't the only place that we have classes, especially not the 6 to 10 week. They tend to be off the farm in other locations. And classes also include breaks during school. So the midwinter break for school, we have classes. The spring break coming up, we'll have classes. Those will be at the farm, but it's not necessarily always at the farm.
So you're sensitive to the school calendar as well as the seasonal calendar when you're putting together these kinds of projects and programs, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to be cognizant of that, because sometimes you're not going to be able to do some of the classes that you would be able to do in other times of the year. Right. And those are, you can have an individual, a group, a whole class from a school come and participate in the tours.
Is there an age range that you, for these classes, that you're looking for, or do you actually offer them across a broad spectrum?
It really depends on what the class is going to be. So we have pre-K the whole way through to seniors. Okay. So it's not necessarily just that 5 to 19 age for just typical 4-Hers. We do offer programs that can extend to most of our programming is pre-K through 12, but we do offer some of our programming through to other groups.
Okay, good. So that's your extended programming, but you also do a lot now with an extended school day program, don't you? Which is really is that kind of new, or is that something you've been working on a long time?
Well, no. So we just got a new grant through the New York State Department of Education. It's a new 5-year grant, but we had before that a grant that had been 5 years and then extended a couple of years. And prior to that, we had a 20th century after school grant. So this particular extended school day grant that we have involves over 500 students in 6 school districts. And there are 4 community partners. Cornell Cooperative Extension and 4-H is one of those community partnerships. But we go to each school. So in this case, we are not generally at the farm. The programming is after school at each of these schools. It offers a snack, it offers homework help, and then there's some sort of programming from these 4 partners. And each school has a different day. Some of our 4-H programming that we've done in the schools includes Junior Master Gardener, we've done archery, we've done diversity and inclusivity, we've done environmental science, we've done Choose Health, we call it CHIF, astronomy, endangered species. It can be almost anything, and we really like to make sure that we're paying attention to what the youth are learning in their classes, and being able to maybe support the teachers in some way in that learning.
So you can be a supplement to the school program with your extended programming.
Right.
I'm curious, you say that the partners is 4-H, Cornell Cooperative Extension, administering this grant, or is there another administrator?
So BOCES is the administrator of the grant for us, and the grant is then run through two of the they're the lead schools for each of, so 3 and then 3 of the schools.
And if you know off the top of your head, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but what are the 6 school districts that you're working with?
So we have them broken down into North and South, and so in North it's led by Norwood, Norfolk, and then Lisbon and Brazier Falls are complete the northern part of this grant, and then the southern part of the grant is led by Herman DeKalb, and Governor and Edwards Knox are the school districts that are included in this southern.
So these are districts that might not have as much in the way of community resources, for example, as a Potsdam and a Canton would, because of our connection with the universities and what also. It's a way to supplement the more rural school districts, isn't it?
It is, it is. And it's a great opportunity. It allows students to both receive a snack, get that homework help that sometimes they can't get, you know, and it allows them to have different experiences and programming through the community partners.
Yeah, that's great. So let's move a little bit to what you do with your Northwinds after-school program, which is at the Extension Farm. So talk about what that program is and who it serves and how it works.
Okay, so it in fact at the farm, students are bused to the farm at 2:45, and so it runs from 2:45 to 5:30. Includes students from K through 6th grade. And what they'll do is they'll get off the bus, they get a healthy snack, because we really want to, you know, work in that healthy living piece of our mission, right? So they get a healthy snack, they get homework time, again, because it's always essential that, you know, if they need assistance with schoolwork, that we're there to provide it for them. They have time to get out and exercise or play.
Never a bad thing. Burn a little energy.
Work off some of that sitting down in the classroom all day long, right? And then we have daily activities. And so those daily activities could be woodworking, could be sewing, could be an agricultural project, could be animal science, environmental science, any number of things. And sometimes, well, most times actually, the activities are really driven by the youth's interests. So if, you know, this particular group right now that's in after school is very interested in doing a lot with, you know, sewing and crafts, and they actually just started a project on making stop action film.
Oh,
so
interesting.
a mini
Brings
stop
in the STEM
action
again.
film,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But, you know, saying that, you know, we're working on a stop action film, this particular after school is really unique in the fact that we don't allow them screen time outside of working with something that has to do with technology in the programming, right? So they're not on a phone, they're not on a tablet, they're not playing video games.
Or just watching TV.
Or just watching TV, right? They're actually really involved in what they're doing, you know, completing their homework, really learning about nutrition, and then, you know, having fun in some activity or program.
Some good way.
Right. It's that experiential learning.
Right. You know, one of the things I think it would be just nice to take a second here is describe for folks who haven't been there what the Extension Learning Farm is and what you have there and how it operates, because that's not something that, unless you've actually physically been there, you probably don't know all the facets of it.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that.
So we have a over 200-acre farm that includes sugar bush. So when we do the maple tours, we actually take students up into the sugar bush, and they get to see all of the line and tubes, and we get to actually talk about the science, the STEM piece of the maple production and the sugar bush. We have sheep. We have goats right now, we have chickens, Casey can chime in whenever she
We're
thinks.
going to be having baby pigs and baby
Baby
cows
pigs.
coming in with our spring and our summer programming. So the farm is bustling with baby animals, which is great for the kids to be working with, especially in the after-school program. They're working with those animals every day, doing chores, collecting the eggs. They absolutely love taking ownership of this animal husbandry and taking care of these animals.
The farm also has a pond. We are working with Clarkson and SUNY Canton to really kind of demonstrate alternative energies. So we have biomass boilers, so they heat 2 of the buildings and the classrooms in the barn. We have a methane digester grant through Clarkson, really showing the sustainability of having manure digesters on farms, and that it can be small. It doesn't have to be large, multi-million-dollar digesters. But so the farm's got a lot to offer.
Well, as I said, we've got the greenhouses and the high tunnel, and we have some research orchards that are doing some research about insects and pests and grazing of plants and.
You're right back to the original land grant mission, and yet you're bringing in 21st century ideas and needs through climate change and energy and all that sort of thing. So it's a soup to nuts operation, isn't it?
It really is, yeah.
We also want to put a plug in for our new commercial kitchen that we just had put in that. So that's one thing that's at the farm. As an extension learning farm for kids to come in, it's also an extension learning farm for adults. It's going to be a process or a location for adults to come in and learning the process of canning or food
processing.
Food processing, value-added food processing.
Exactly.
So that's a great another aspect that we have to the farm.
And so I think one of the things, Nicki, that a lot of people are familiar with, either from their own experience or maybe their children's experience, is going to camp. 4-H camp. And you have a couple of different camp opportunities that you offer to folks. So let's go ahead and describe those, both the day camp and the away camp.
Right, so we have a summer day camp at the farm, and we call it the North Winds Farm Day Camp. We have 7 weeks of offering this year. That's an additional week from prior years. And they're differently themed each week. And so a typical day at the farm day camp, you would have a morning and an afternoon snack, which are provided. There's farm chores, so both dealing with the animals, but also then gardening. So they might be in the high tunnel, they might be in the greenhouse. We also have plots.
Getting their hands dirty.
They get their hands, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And they do different crafts throughout the week. They will work on some of the programs that we talked about, the single classes or short-term stuff. Doing wilderness schools, they'll do nutrition activities, they'll do ag activities. They'll have special speakers or guests come in and be able to talk to them about something specific to that week. And they're broken up into smaller learning groups of 10 or less, and that just allows for greater interaction and participation. So you don't have these large groups of youth really not being able to have that experiential learning, that you'll have just individuals out of a larger group. So to make the group smaller, then everybody gets a chance to have that.
So it's all about doing, not about observing.
Right. Like you said, it's all about getting dirty. It's all about getting out there and experiencing things, and learning by doing.
Right.
And the day camp is open for youth from 5 to 12 years of age. And they're grouped according to ages. So if there happens to be 1 week, a few more older kids, then there might be a couple groups of older kids. But they're split so that we can really target their learning to their stage of where they are in their process. And the cost is $160 a week unless you sign up for 3 or more of the weeks, and then it's $135 a week.
So that's very reasonable. And the day runs from when to when?
It runs from 8 to 4.
Yep.
Okay.
And registration is open for that right now.
Okay, good. And what's the numbers limit that you look for each week?
For each week,
Yeah.
I believe he has it at 35.
Okay, so not something to wait to join
They
in if
fill
you're
up.
interested.
Yeah,
You
they
fill
fill
up,
up
yeah.
pretty fast.
Yeah.
And they're themed weeks, so.
So you can pick the themes that are most interest to your student. That's
Yep.
great.
Yep.
And then the 4-H day camp, the 4-H away camp is in Mountain View, which is over in Franklin County, and it's a cooperative effort between the Cooperative Extension here and Franklin County, right?
Right, so we have a kind of part ownership of it, and Franklin County has part ownership of it. And that's, 4-H Camp Overlook has been around a very long time.
Yes, it has.
And it's actually a year-round now outdoor educational facility open to all types of groups. Anybody who's interested in team building, they have a low ropes and high ropes course, environmental education, and it's open for private rentals. It also, during the summer, does the residential camp from June 29th through August 11th. And that's open for youth from 6 to 18, so 6 years old to 18 years old. And it's a traditional summer camp. You go away, you have all of these great experiences with all of these new people you meet from all over the area. But this year they have added a kind of a new twist or an extra bit to it. It's called the Mountaineers, Alpine Adventurers, and Pathfinders programs, or MAPS programs. So the older kids will have the ability to sign up for these when they're in their week at Camp Overlook. And also a backpacking program. So they've kind of they've really been adding programming and additional activities to camp.
Okay, yeah, and a couple of my kids went to it back in the day and loved it, and it's just a place that it's got it all. It's got woods, water, wonderful facilities. It's just a ton of fun, isn't it?
It is. It is a ton of fun. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And Casey, let's finally talk about the educational partnership that you have with St. Lawrence Lewis BOCES in the Agricultural Studies Academy, which I believe is new this year, isn't it?
New this year, yep. So this is their first year, and the students absolutely love it. So one thing we're talking about this Ag Studies Academy with 4-H is they're adopting a lot of the 4-H methodologies in a sense with what they're teaching. It is very hands-on. It's right at the farm. They're getting in and getting dirty with all aspects of agriculture, and it's what they're really going to get out of this 4-H for them is their government credits. So they're going to be working on holding those business meetings, holding a responsibility of having a title or a role. And really working on that citizenship and community outreach is going to kind of be their mission with the 4-H stuff that they're working on. But it's an all-day program. It's open to all 18 districts in the county, and they're a survey course, so they're doing 8 units of natural resources, food science, animal science, vet science, ag mechanics, ag business, plants, and crop science. So they're really talking about all of the different aspects of ag, not just working with the animals. I know they have some of them that are interested in forestry, some of them are interested in ag business, some of them are interested in coming back and working on a farm. And they do have 7 credits that the kids can gain through JCC, Jefferson Community College. And they're really a big aspect of this program is just networking with the local area and the local farms and ag businesses. To let them know just how vast the agriculture careers are, and to hopefully get them interested in going to college and bringing back that agriculture business and concepts back to St. Lawrence County.
It's interesting, the Agricultural Studies Academy, we've almost come full circle, haven't we? We started out where education was almost all focused towards rural farm population kids, and then we cycled around and began to look more at industry and other kinds of jobs, and now here we are right back at giving kids a great opportunity to learn about the agricultural industry all over again. Yep. So it's been a full circle, hasn't it, for Cooperative Extension?
Although ag has come into the 21st century, so they also get the experience of not only doing like ag mechanics on working on tractors, but you have to be able to use a computer. A lot of the equipment now is computer programmed, and ag has come into the 21st century.
Very good. So then, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sorry. And with that, the Ag Studies Academy is for seniors. It's an option for their senior year.
Okay.
And they do fulfill. So they need to have their Regents requirements fulfilled for graduation. Such as taking the Regents test in their junior year. However, they are getting their senior year courses through this program.
Okay.
They are getting their government, economics, English, PE or gym, math, and science. So they are getting that built into the curriculum. They have some outside time where they're working on the farm and working with these agriculture concepts, as well as being in the classroom and making sure that they're getting those project areas.
So in many ways, it's almost like an internship, isn't it?
Yeah.
So isn't that interesting? Okay, in a last couple seconds here, any final thoughts about 4-H? This is your 2-minute elevator speech. What do you want to tell people about what they need to know, and how do they find out more? And we will have some show graphics that do have your contact information on it. But give your little pitch.
Oh boy! All right, so I guess 4-H is just a family-friendly, out-of-school experience where they get a lot of hands-on topics that's really going to build on their life skills and what they're able to take with them as they grow into an adult. And to find out more, to really know what 4-H has to offer in St. Lawrence County, we are having a 4-H open house on May 20th from 10 to 3. And it is at the Extension Learning Farm in Canton, which is on Route 68 in Canton, so Highway 68, where there's going to be highlighted those 4-H clubs. They're going to be there doing activities with the families that come in. We are going to have the representatives from Camp Overlook there with information about Camp Overlook and what they're doing over the summer, as well as in the pond doing some fishing. We're going to have a whole bunch of baby animals, baby chicks, baby goats, baby lambs, hopefully baby pigs and baby cows at that time, so that's always fun. And there's going to be food, there's going to be a whole bunch of activities, just fun, family-friendly activities going on at the farm on that day. And it really is an opportunity to meet the 4-H staff, to meet those 4-H families, and again, just to really see what 4-H is doing in St. Lawrence County.
That's exciting. And so from an educator point of view, what's your pitch?
Oh, well, I'm going to pitch all of our summer camps, both North Winds and Camp Overlook, and of course our North Winds after school program. So if you contact the office, and again you said our information around, if you contact the office, you can get your youth signed up for our after school program. We also have a partnership with Tractor Supply called the Paper Clover. And that is coming up April 26th through May 7th, and you can actually donate at Tractor Supply.
Oh, okay.
So,
and that money that's donated at Tractor Supply comes right back into St. Lawrence County, and being able to help support our teens go on citizenship and leadership trips. So to Capital Days down to Albany, to career explorations down at Cornell University, to STAR, which is a leadership retreat down in Syracuse. And we just got notice this morning that we have been approved and accepted from the funds from last year that we're able to use for sending kids to projects and trips for this year. So it's a great opportunity to give back to the 4-H program in our local St. Lawrence County.
Thank you both for coming in and talking about 4-H. It is so much more than it used to be, and it's been a fascinating discussion. So I'm sure lots of folks will be interested, and hopefully we'll have great turnout for your May 20th event on the farm. So thank you both. These conversations are a production of North Country Matters, which is produced here in the Computer Center of the Potsdam Public Library. The show is a civic collaboration between the St. Lawrence County branch of the American Association of University Women and the St. Lawrence County League of Women Voters and the Potsdam Public Library. Until next time, remember, our North Country matters.